All right. So first off, thanks for coming, everybody. Quick disclaimer: the class material we are using is copywritten by Six Stillwater, one of the admins on Sim. So I want to go ahead and give her credit for that before we get started. So the chain of command on the Sim starts with the front line, which is the moderators themselves. Any issue that comes in should initially be handled by a moderator. From there, the next person above them is the lead moderator, who may end up being one of the admins on Sim, may not. Right now, it definitely is. I don't know if we'll change that necessarily. And then, of course, the admins themselves, the Sim owners, are the final review. So as moderation issues get brought up, they get passed up the chain of command, admins make a final determination, and then that closes the issue. As I'm going along, if you guys have any questions, please type a exclamation point into local, like so. That way I know to stop and address whatever the question is. Try to pre-type your question if I'm still reading. Have it ready to go, and then I will read it back and answer whatever your question might be. All right, next is the Terms of Service and Community Standards. Workaround, or let's see, somebody just TP'd in. Nothing ever goes smoothly. A working understanding of the terms of service for Linden Labs and Second Life and the community standards are going to be helpful. We can enforce Sim rules and laws, but we must also moderate within the rules and laws placed on the Sim by Linden Labs for Second Life. It's not required that you know these by heart, but you do need to know where to find them and be able to refer to them if faced with situations where they might come into question. So the links for those are on the website itself. I've also posted those in the local. Being successful, moderation encompasses a large part of what makes a Sim successful. To continue in that success, there's a bit of training that's going to be instituted, which is the purpose of this class. Those who are already moderators will still need to review the training and get brushed up on what is required of them and what will be trained. First up is the requirements for being a moderator here on the Sim. First is participation in the Sim for at least 2 months. So that means, of course, we've only been open a month. Nobody's going to be being appointed to moderator anytime soon. Number 2 is no incidents of Sim rule infringement by the prospective moderator. Number 3 is knowledge of the Sim's laws and rules, including the combat and raid rules. No bans or lifted bans against the prospective moderator. And then, of course, completing this training. Training requirements. 1 active moderation with another moderator reviewing. 1 active combat moderation with another moderator reviewing. Test for rule knowledge. 2 moderation reports sent into the admins. And then finally, training with mod tools and the other moderator or administrative tools such as freezing, ejecting, and banning from the Sim. On training fair and unbiased moderation, the most important thing about being a moderator here is the ability to moderate without bias. Your best friend is not your best friend when you get called in to be a moderator. The most common complaint on any Sim is biased moderation. Our friends are going to be our friends, whether we rule in their favor or not. If they were even better friends, they wouldn't put you in a position to have to moderate them at all. Sometimes it's not a friend, and it's just popular opinion. Moderators aren't moderators to enforce popular opinion. We are here to enforce Sim rules, period. That's it. We will often have to come into the situation to be the bad guy to one or both parties. That's part of the job. If you can't see yourself telling one of your closest friends, you've been warned several times now, and we're going to have to remove you from the Sim for 24 hours, we'll see you tomorrow, then this job is absolutely not one that you want to take on. If sim administration gets proof of biased moderation, there will be a review by the admins and the lead mod, and possible expulsion from moderation group. There should be very little quarter given for, oops, my bad. This issue is big and we can lose players over it, so don't ever do it. Communication is a key factor in functioning moderation teams. If you are ever unsure, then it's best to reach out to your fellow mods, ask them to make a call. You don't want to end up making one that can be overturned upon further review, but if it happens, it happens. The key thing is ask for help. There's a group available, so make sure that you put it to use. The tools that we use, you do not ever use the tools of practice, ejecting, freezing, etc. in situations other than being a mod. This includes ejecting from the sim, banning, or freezing people in place. Infringement on this will be immediate expulsion if it was found to be on purpose. It may also mean a ban from the sim, depending on the severity of the reason for it. Titles and influence. We do not ever use our moderator title as a threat to influence or handle situations that arise in roleplay. When you're on sim and you're role-playing, you are a role player. When you're a moderator and you're moderating a situation, you are a moderator. The two are mutually exclusive, though you should always be mindful of your environment. Getting involved in a situation. Do not jump into to handle a situation where no mod was even called for. Wait for somebody to actually call a mod. If you have to call the mod, then you're not able to handle it. You're going to have somebody else come in to moderate the situation. Don't ever mod a situation that you have been involved in, IC or OC. If you're involved in a raid, then don't moderate it. If you're getting OOC to death in an IM from another role player, don't handle it yourself. Get a different moderator. Don't ever let your integrity be questioned or put yourself in a position where it can be questioned. If you're involved in a raid and you really want your sim to win and the other team won, but a moderator was called, they could instantly assume that you wanted your team to win, so you modded in their favor. Call somebody else. Can't say that often enough. Always be supportive of the rest of the team. Don't ever question a ruling in the open. How can any player trust the entire team if one of the people on the team is questioning them publicly? Question the mod in IMs. Give your reasoning for the disagreement politely. Remember, the code of conduct applies to everybody, including us to each other. If they still don't agree, then go ahead and move it up the ladder for review. The moderator team is a team. If we can't count on each other for support, then we're not really a team. Mod shopping. You guys should all be aware of what that is. God knows plenty of people do it. This means a player is IMing a mod that they think will be friendly to their case. If you are a personal friend to the player that's calling, then be a team player and kick it over to somebody else to get another set of eyes on the situation and make sure that yours aren't clouded by your relationship with the person calling for the mod. Don't ever share your opinion on other mods ruling the players. Don't talk about mod situations to other players. Don't bring it up ever. Public, IMs, nothing. Don't ever say something to somebody that you're not willing to have get back to everybody else because you cannot trust them not to repeat what you say. If you have an issue, go talk to the mod who's actually handling it. We don't mod RP. It's a general misconception that we don't moderate RP. This is just utterly not true. More often than not, what you're going to get called in to do is moderate roleplay that infringes on rules in the Sims. Really good example is God modding and metagaming. Two of the main reasons why somebody will call in a mod. You're absolutely moderating your roleplay in that sense. What we don't do is we don't moderate Korean roleplay. Somebody calls a mod because they're bent out of shape because something happened to them. It's by the book. Well, tough. Many Sims, including our own, have Korean roleplay advisors who are either a separate team or the admins themselves. And if a player feels that, if you feel that a player needs some coaching, if their roleplay's a little off, then kick it over to them. Let them handle it. It's not a mod issue. We do not ever tell players how to play unless it's grossly and obviously not Korean. If a slave wants to come onto the sim and be a mouthy, abusive upstart, then that's their right to do that. They get to reap the rewards of their role play And we don't ever step in the way of just desserts unless the pendulum swings too far the other way, and then the reaction is vastly and obviously not Korean. You get the point. If there's no sim law being broken, then there's nothing for you to moderate. But be polite enough to let the complaint know why you won't be handling the situation. Don't just get cocky or nasty and tell them, this isn't my problem, they didn't bring a sim rule, shut them, go away. You still want to be polite to them. You still want to express empathy if you have to. But help where it's needed. And where it's not needed, either divert it to somebody that can help or just explain that it's not a situation that can be helped. They need to resolve it, I assume.
We never say, suck it up and be an adult.
Right. As Wynn says, never tell somebody suck it up and deal with it. That's just rude, insulting, and you're pretty much asking for that person to bite your head off. Emotions have no place in a moderator's job. If you're having a bad day, then that's a day that you need to step out and say, you know what, I'm not going to moderate today. I'm feeling like I'm going to bite somebody's face off for asking me an innocent question. Fuck it, somebody else handle it. Then that's what you do. It's up to you at that point to make the team aware that you're in that kind of mood, and they'll pick up your slack. It's fine. The players are not your whipping posts. More importantly, just like you are not theirs. I've had it said to me that moderators are people that have to take whatever shitty attitude comes their way and just take it, and that's their job. Absolutely not. Not here anyway. Have a care. I don't care and I don't want to hear it. Those words are no longer part of your vocabulary if you become a moderator here. When a player comes to you with a concern and a question, they need to know that a person in charge, a titled person, is listening to them and hearing their problem. If you don't want to hear it, and you really don't care, then be considerate enough to hand it to somebody else to resolve without telling them that. Take a moment of your time to let them know that their concerns are valid, and then move them to the next person who's going to handle it. Our player base is what keeps the sim going and thriving. If somebody with a valid issue gets their balls busted for making an attempt to get a correction or get help, then something they think is an issue, they're going to get pissed and leave. And that's on us if we allow that to be an issue. Emotional hostage taking. You guys have all heard this one. I'm going to leave if, or just flat out rage quitting, middle of a role play, middle of a raid, somebody gets bent out of shape, they TP out. These are all examples of emotional hostage taking at its finest. Don't let this type of player take you hostage. We don't beg players to stay here. If your toddler lies in the middle of a cereal aisle and throws a tantrum, you don't reward them by then giving them their favorite box of cereal. You calmly let the player know that you'll be sad to see him go, and then let them know that they're a valued player and that, that's their choice. If they'd like you to handle the situation, you're there to do it. But if they don't want it handled and they just want to pull that stunt, well, sorry. Excuse me. We can't spend all of our time here in SL online playing rescue the negative spirit from themselves. You guys have all met players like that. They're a danger to themselves. They're their own worst enemy. It's not our job as admins and moderators to fix them or to make things better for them. If the person is indeed a longtime player on the sim and is really having an issue, then again, pass it up to somebody else. Let an admin at that point know. Reports, the actual paperwork, the stuff that nobody wants to do, but on this team you will definitely have to do it. There should be a moderator report on every single incident, no matter how big or small it is, no matter how inconsequential you think it is. Number one, it should be titled Mod Report, date, and the player involved. Number two, it won't always just be one player, but put the main player's name on the title, probably the person that called for them in the first place. And number three, make sure that all of the logs are included, even the ones that don't seem important. This is vitally important to do, even for those that you don't feel like you need to do it. You don't need to do the report because you're higher up on the chain. It doesn't matter. It has to get done. The reason for it is that by doing these reports, it allows the moderators and the administrators to see if one person or more has had more than one incident with us. It also lets us review those with less experience to make sure that they're handling things appropriately. Make sure all your reports are sent into the admins and mod group or to the admin mailbox, which is down in the Harbor Master's office. Find out if there's a storage location for reports. Sometimes they're kept on sim. No card libraries, OOC locations, and whatnot. I'm not exactly sure if we're keeping those on.
Yep, they're up in the OC skybox.
Right now we have an OOC skybox and office that we take to handle things, and we are keeping no-carded copies of everything in that location. So they are available to the other moderator teams. If they need to go up there and look up stuff, it's there for them to look up. Non-disclosure. What gets talked about in the admin and mod group, or even an IM to IM with another mod, is never to be discussed outside of the mod or admin team. Our players should not have to hear our judgment anywhere but from us in that given situation. We're often privy to role plays that have been had questionable content, or you should have never determined if a person's character with what you know about them from moderation. You don't want to metagame. You don't want to go through and look up those things to learn stuff for role play. Absolutely not. Players who have been involved in moderation sometimes quit, or they end up getting banned. And often it's just an in-the-moment situation, and it ends up being resolved when they're calmer. It's deeply unfair to discuss their business as to what happened, so keep players' business to yourself. You've all probably had an issue come up where a player got hot under the collar, said something they shouldn't have, did something they shouldn't have, ended up with a temp ban. The next day, they come back, they're calm, rational again, and things pick up. If you spent the day before bad-mouthing them or talking about the situation, well, now you've just compounded the situation, made it infinitely worse. So keep that stuff to yourself. The group chats. Everybody loves to moderate those. You don't have to constantly be aware of the group chat. I'm not suggesting that everybody who's on the moderation team have group chat open 24 hours when they're on, constantly looking at it. There's usually a number of people on at the same time, casually observing chat, and normally somebody picks something up when it happens. But you do want to be aware and look at it from time to time at least. So issues in the group chat that come up: inflammatory, derogatory, defamatory, or negative chat in our chat is flat out not welcome. People have already been ejected from the sim for it, for something that you would normally think is so innocuous. It causes nothing but drama. There's no reason for it, so we don't allow it. Discussion in the group chat is perfectly fine as long as it doesn't escalate into any of the items above. If you can carry on a discussion or even a debate, although I highly encourage you to avoid debates, that's fine. But make sure it stays at a cool level. People do have a right to speech, but that doesn't mean that it should affect the role play in the sim. If everybody's in the group chat and they're all talking and chatting up, then nobody's actually role playing, and then we end up with a dead sim, even though there's tons of dots on the map. Gentle reminders are okay, but don't attack the chat. Hey, why don't you guys come down and role play with me? Is usually an effective reminder without chastising everybody, making them feel bad. Sometimes just a little bit of diversion of attention is all that's required. And number 4, we do not call people out in the group. We are not offenders, and public calling out is what is expected of a player, not a moderator. Remind the whole group that negativity should be turned over to IM or to a mod, and then get in the IM of the offender. Get it out of chat. Handling a mod situation that is not a raid situation. Number 1, first thing you do is you put your moderator tag on and then you mark your meter to OOC before you do anything. Number 2, find the parties involved, ask them to mark themselves OOC, pull them out of roleplay, take them somewhere to a quiet location that's outside of the traffic area sim. Get away from the roleplay area, take them to the office, take them to the woods, anywhere there's nobody else around that's going to snoop or generally be distracted. Number 3, ask for all of the note cards. Don't accept partial or edited note cards. There are also some tools that we use to avoid situations where people can fake note cards or fake logs. If you're brought onto the team, that's one of the many tools that you'll be taught how to use and how to help defend against that kind of issue. Ask the parties involved not to talk until you've had a moment to review everything that's been given to you, and then you will talk to them individually if there's a group of people. Moderate it in local so that we don't violate TOS by passing IM conversations. IMs can be used for clarification instances. So always be mindful of the sharing IMs in a situation. You don't want to IM it to anybody. Make sure you've got permissions to rehash things out in local if it has to be. That way you're not on the wrong side of Linden Labs while you're dealing with it. Number 6, we are unfortunately going to get IMs and logs of IMs from people. You do not post these to the report. Use them for the moderator issue to get it resolved, and then throw the logs away. Make a brief summary of what the items were that were witnessed. Number 7, if the call is not accepted, then utilize the admin and mods to have somebody review it. Sometimes a fresh set of eyes can help. Number 8, don't argue points with the players. At that point, let them know it's under review. Number 9, always get people back into roleplay as quickly as possible. If the other party's fine, then go ahead and tell them to go back to roleplay. Let the objecting party, the one who called you in the first place, sit there with you and wait out the entirety of the mod call. More often than not, they'll just want to get back to roleplay. Lastly, number 10, file the report and then send it up to the admin and mod team. Handling a situation that is a raid. Very similar. First thing, again, put on your mod tag, mark yourself as OOC. Number 2, don't get involved in the raid. This will leave your integrity questionable, and if the call turns in the favor of your home team, they're just going to get bent. Number 3, get into whatever voice chat group is being used. Some of the groups, you guys might have your own personal chat, you might be in Skype, whatever it may be. If that's going on, make sure that the moderator is also jumping in to be able to talk to them. If your sim uses raid counters, you're going to want to check and double check to make sure that the ratio is correct. We're currently looking into an initiative where during raids, both the attacking and defending party will have an OOC representative with them that will allow for easier communication between the two groups without the fighters themselves having to get involved. And that'll be a good time where the mod has to come in and handle that. Now, typically when we're getting raided, somebody is going to have to come up and do this right off the bat. You don't wait for a mod call in a raid to be observing and being on top of the situation to help. You're not there to police necessarily. You're not there to bully and berate people in doing what you want, but you do want to be aware of the situation because the raid is very fluid. Somebody's got to stay on top of that. You want to address yourself as the moderator to the group, the attacking group, so that they know who they need to send complaints to. They shouldn't be IMing the warriors. If they have a concern or a question or anything at all, then they're going to go to you, the flag admin for the sim. Number 6, put yourself in a location where you can see but get out of the way. That probably means flying or hovering. However, you could just go in a building and camp. Just make sure that you're not in anybody's way and disrupting things. You definitely don't want to end up being a shield where you're flagged OOC and the fighters are going on around you and you're soaking up hits and arrows, and that'll just tick the raiders off. So again, imperative that you get out of the way. Move, go. Number 7, most of these calls will be cuts from local to your IM. Make sure you keep them all for records. Number 8, try to address people individually, but find a party leader that may be willing to intercede for the group. And again, this is where the use of an OOC observer coming in with the party comes in. It allows us to have a quick point of contact without having to hunt people down and bother them when they're busy doing other stuff. Number 9, do not stop a raid unless a gross situation has evolved into a complete redo and can be worked out with the party leaders or the OOC point of contact. When we stop a raid, we utterly and completely stop roleplay. Best case scenario, you always want to try to let it play out and then address it in moderation after the fact if you have to. We really, really, really don't like to have to moderate battles and raids and defenses on sim. And then lastly, of course, again, file whatever the report is, send it up to the admins. Policies and mods. Most sims should have the list of moderators at the landing point case, we got it on the website, the landing points all over the place. They should also have a set of their rules available to both players and moderators to review. Ours are on the website, which means everybody's got access to it. Number one, be sure of who all the mods and admins are for easier communication. Make sure you know who's on your team. Make sure you know who the mods are for your sim and learn where to find the mods for other sims. Number two, be aware of violation policy. If the sim has a policy for violation, and it should, make sure that you have read it. Ask the other sim for their violation policy. And number three, be aware of ban review policy. If your sim has a ban review policy, and it should, make sure that you've read it. Ask for copies of other sim bans to review the policy.
We don't currently have either.
We presently, right now on this sim, don't have either one of those. We, again, are working on something with a few other sims that may change. As anything with that changes, anybody on the mod admin team will be made aware of it. But for right now, that's not really a consideration for us. The tools that we use being eject, freeze, and ban. There are many ways to actually use the tools in Sim. Let's see, it says I will be downloading versions of all the viewers to provide the tricks for each one. All viewers have a right-click option and then a menu that you can select from them when the actual avatar is right-clicked on. Me personally, I use the radar. The radar menus have this option as well as a moderation tab. And you don't have to chase the people around in the sim. You just find them on the list, click them. Right-click the name on the radar to get the menu, or click the moderation buttons in the mod tab. Some viewers have that, some don't. These options should be used in case of griefers and offenses listed in the uniform violation policy. Don't ever abuse the use of the tools. Again, if you see somebody running around on sim and jumping off roofs or doing something that is a violation of the rules but hasn't really caused a problem and nobody's complained, don't just proactively go around freezing these people and kicking them, banning them. That's not your job. And lastly is gagging somebody in the group. Most of the viewers have a way to go into the chat and then go into the group information and then remove the ability of that person to chat in text. In the updated version, most of the viewers, there's an arrow at the top of the group chat in the upper right-hand corner that you can click on, and it expands all of the people who are currently viewing chat. You can then right-click the name of a person, go to moderator options, and then take the check mark off of the text chat options. This can be used in spam situations if you warned a player about their behavior in the group and they persist with negative communication and you have to shut them up to be able to handle the situation. Sometimes if people cock off and they lose their temper, they just won't shut up. You have to shut them up at that point. You may let them know about the gag and IM and then make sure that you send a report up to the admin team if you end up having to mute somebody from chat. Now, it's important to know that we've had a lot of problems in SL where when you try to mute somebody out of chat, that it doesn't work. And initially, that person will still be able to keep talking. If that happens, and despite everything you can do to nullify their ability to chat doesn't work, and they keep going, immediately IM that person, let them know that their ability to chat was removed, and even though SL is allowing them to continue it, any further abuse of it will probably result in a much more escalated situation than whatever they got in the first place. So that way they know, hey, I muted you, you really need to knock it off right now or this is going to get worse. They go back into chat and continue to cock off, chances are they're probably going to get banned or something close to it. So that is pretty much it for what we got on this class. Does anybody have any questions